Real combat. Real action. Carnage Media.
We'll jump right into the Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall. How many of you guys got to listen to him? I know you did. I know you did, Clayton, because you always do. What are your thoughts on Tom coming out and basically saying Jon Jones is just retired and he is the undisputed heavyweight champion?
It's a good war of words, right? Like Tom knows that Jon's been traveling the world. He's been pretty active on social media about that. Like, he was just in Thailand. He was wrestling in like a pool with some guys in Dagestan not that long ago too. Like, he's going all over the place. So Tom, smartly in my opinion, was like, yeah, he's on his retirement tour. He's done. I've been upgraded to undisputed heavyweight champion, and here we are. Happy retirement, Jon. So, like, do I think Jon Jones is retired? No, not at all. But I do think that was probably a good idea by Aspinall to at least poke at him a little bit, and just as like, hey, I'm getting, because he hasn't fought in almost a year too.
Yeah,
since last July. So like, he's only 32, which is a baby in heavyweight years. So he's probably getting irritated, and I don't blame him. So good on Tom Aspinall.
Yeah, well, and kind of like what Tom had said too, is the whole division's that kind of been shut down. Like none of the top guys are fighting because they all think if the Jon Jones fight doesn't happen and he gets stripped of his belt, that they could be the next person up to fight Tom for the undisputed belt.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of when was the last time we saw Alexander Volkov?
It's been a while for him, since we've seen him actually fight. And so like nobody wants to fight because they all want to be the next man up. And so it's put a standstill to the heavyweight division, which is just Jon Jones is to blame for that. I mean, it just is. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And it's frustrating to fans like us who want to see the heavyweight, because nothing's like a nice heavyweight fight. Two big boys going at it and hopefully throwing hands.
It's been heavyweight combat sports in general. We're talking boxing, we're talking MMA, has always been one of the most popular divisions. Like, example, Randy Couture and Brock Lesnar, that era. Great heavyweights. Yeah. Fedor Emelianenko. We move up. There's a reason aren't guys with, like, I think the record for heavyweight title defenses is 4. I think Stipe has 4. And that's a lot, because Brock Lesnar held it with 2. The belt changes hands. It's an exciting division. Nobody's ever cleaned out heavyweight. It hasn't happened. So it's just, I agree with you 100%. The division's been shut down. We haven't seen, Alexander Volkov got robbed against Cyril Gane in December. I forgot about that one. But Cyril Gane hasn't fought since then. Volkov hasn't fought since then. We see guys like Marcin Tybura, who I actually think is fighting this weekend. He's an up and down guy. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes they plug him into headline a fight night card at the Apex. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like, you don't see top 3 heavyweights headlining Apex fights. It doesn't happen.
No. That would be dumb. I feel like, for the company to do it that way. Wade, what are your thoughts on all this stuff going on here?
Yeah, I'm extremely frustrated because I, like most of the world, love a super competitive heavyweight fight. Like, there's nothing like them big boys throwing some light leather and with bad intentions. So excitement's going to happen every single time in that weight class. And just for Jones to just be trolling everybody, living his best life, traveling everywhere, and just be like, yeah, I got the belt. I can do what I want. I'm Jon Jones. Just frustrated because I want to see this fight. Come on. You're old ass. You ain't got much time. Let's get this ball rolling.
Now,
I think it was good on time to poke. I mean, keep talking that smack. I mean, obviously it's going to be great for a good build-up when the fight does get announced. So I think it's happening.
Well, so you do think it's going to happen? Because you did have Jon Jones going out there talking about how there's a big announcement that's going to be happening that he can't make the announcement. There's a video of him. I can't remember where he was, but he was talking about it, and he was saying that, well, there's a big thing. I can't talk about it. The UFC will announce it when they announce it.
I remember the Paul brothers doing the same shit, and then they launched a TV show. So until
Kevin's favorite TV show,
yeah, until I see Dana in like Kevin likes to see him do in the hallway of some random arena on his phone, like announcing the fight. Whatever, dude. Whatever. Your opinion means nothing to me, John.
Do you think that things would be different if Francis Ngannou was still in the UFC in the heavyweight talk? Like, how do you think all this stuff would be playing around? Like, do you think he would have fought Jones? Do you think he would have been fighting Tom at this point? What do you think would have been happening if he would have stayed in here? Do you think there would have been a nice rivalry between him and Tom? What's your thoughts on it?
So if I had a magic wand and I could play it out exactly how I thought it would be, I think Francis beats Jon the first time they fight. Jon comes back, gets the belt, and retires, and now Aspinall and Francis are fighting for the undisputed title. That's what rivalry. I think would realistically happen. I think that Francis and Jon would have fought at least twice by now, minimum.
I think the same thing. Like, Jon Jones is probably the best to ever do it. His fight knowledge, fight IQ is insane. Distance management is crazy, but he ain't never been hit like by Francis, man. Francis is got a different kind of power.
Nobody's ever been hit by somebody like Francis.
Overeem has.
Yeah. Did you see that you guys remember NFT chains? Like when that was a thing? First and foremost, I don't know why those died. I thought those things were sick. But Francis Ngannou had one of his knockout of Alistair Overeem. He had an NFT chain.
That was a decapitation.
Yeah, I'm surprised his head didn't fly off. That is one of the cleanest uppercuts I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Zach, I know you like an uppercut too.
Yes. Throw them uppercuts. Especially when people duck, man. Throw those. Especially as an Ami.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Because I know I can sit here and talk. Well, first of all, Kevin, what's your thoughts on all this stuff? Like, what's your thoughts on because I know you love Jon Jones. He's your favorite fighter in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got so many good things to say.
I cannot wait.
Yeah, so I'm glad that I went last because I didn't want to rain on everyone's parade until the very end. I wanted you guys to get out all the positivity, all the happy thoughts, all the optimism that we could afford. I wanted you guys to have that for as long as you could have it, because I can't call it a reality, but my opinion of what is going to happen is that Tom Aspinall just called it like he sees it. Now, he may have been doing what you guys are thinking. Like, his intention very well may have been, I'm going to talk this coward into fighting me by just saying, oh, well, he's retired. And if I start making the rumors that he's retired, maybe the fans run with it a little bit. People are already signing petitions to strip Jon of the belt. Like, let's get this moving. I'm tired of it. Let's move on. As you guys have already mentioned, the entire division has been held hostage, though, in a way we haven't seen since Dana's last favorite fighter. And so but to me, what I have seen Jon Jones do on a regular basis on social media recently, you guys talked about he's in Thailand or whatever. He's doing another country's version of The Ultimate Fighter, right? So he's a coach on some TV show right now. There's videos of him getting drunk, riding mopeds out in the street. I'm sure he's just drunk. I'm sure there's no other chemicals in his bloodstream.
No good influence Jon Jones, yes.
And meanwhile, he's interacting with people on Twitter talking about how his goals are to build a bigger following and essentially have this little media company thing going on. I think that the reality of the situation is Jon Jones is going to milk this for as long as he possibly can. And he'll inevitably get burned by it, because you can only do this for so long before you'll have go away heat, go home heat, as they call it in wrestling, where there's a right amount of hatred that will get people to want to pay money to see you get knocked out. But eventually you get to a point where people would pay money for you to go away, so you quit ruining the thing that they love. You know, you're talking about a sport. We talk about this a lot with the ticket prices and everything. Like, This is a working man sport, all right? These are people, a lot of the fans of this sport who work hard all day, every day. They're not millionaires. They're not billionaires, despite who the UFC wants to fill their arenas with. It's just everyday people who are probably getting really sick and tired of this dude not doing his job. And he is the heavyweight champion of the world, the most important title to a lot of fans, and he is ruining their favorite sport. And I just can't see how you can get away with that for much longer. But I honestly believe that Jon Jones has no intention of fighting, but he will lose money as soon as we all know that. So it's in his best interest to draw this out. Obviously, you know, to go back to the Francis thing for a minute, the one thing I will say is if Francis were in the UFC, we'd have had a Jon Jones fight by now, because otherwise Dana would have stripped him, because you could sell a lot of tickets for Tom versus Francis. People would love to see that fight. The only reason we're all handcuffed by this is because there isn't a third heavyweight in the UFC that we all want to see. Like, if there was just one more guy who could sell pay-per-views, Jon Jones would be out on his metaphorical ass, hanging out in Thailand, doing whatever he's doing, probably making good money and doing what he seems to want to do, which is just be an influencer, which is fine. No knock against it, but just retire already. But he won't do that because this is the last big bag that he'll ever get. So I think at some point he will just have to be stripped because he's not ever going to fight.
Agreed.
You know, I got curious to look up the current UFC heavyweight rankings because I never thought of it like that, right? Like, there's nobody else he could really fight. And Kev, that's 100% accurate. Like, I'm looking down here. Tom at 1, obviously. Cyril Gane has lost 2 heavyweight title challenges now. Lost to Francis, lost to Jon. He's not going to do it. Volkov coming off a loss, even though Dana came up to him, shook his hand like, hey, you got robbed. You don't, probably not. Sergey coming off of a couple of losses now, including one to Alexander Volkov, who's above him. Curtis Blades got knocked out by Tom. Jonathan Almeida just got beat not that long ago. Sergey Spivak, notoriously up and down. Tabura, up and down. Derek Lewis, up and down. I think Tai Tuivasa is 0-5 in his last 5, and he's number 10.
Oof.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's 100% accurate. I never thought of it like that because there's not a third guy. There's just not.
All he'd have to do is dangle one other fight, and then Jon would say, wait a minute, that's my bag. No one can have no. And then he'd be unretired. But we don't have that, so here we sit in a stalemate.
So maybe Brock Lesnar comes out of retirement. You know,
that'd be so funny. Oh my God. The only fight that I think I would want to see more than Tom Aspinall versus Francis would be Fedor versus Brock Lesnar. That might be the only heavyweight fight ever that I might have wanted to see more than this, because they were in talks to do that at one point at Cowboy Stadium, but the UFC couldn't get it done. Brock Lesnar versus Fedor at Cowboy Stadium, that would have been nuts.
It's going to have to be a heavyweight. It's going to have to be a heavyweight fight at AT&T Stadium. That's just how it's going to have to be. I feel like nothing against the other divisions. It's just,
I don't even know if Conor could do Cowboy Stadium anymore. I don't think it could happen.
Oh, anymore? No. Maybe in his prime, he might have been able to get away with it when he was double champ, and if he was actually doing it the proper way of going back and forth between the two and being able to defend it. He could have sold that place out, because just him talking could have sold it out.
Yeah,
but
easily
not now. Maybe President McGregor.
Conor Khabib fight could have sold that out, I believe.
Yeah, that might have been able to get that done.
Wait, what'd you say?
Conor Khabib fight that could have got it done.
Yeah.
There was so much hype behind that,
dude.
There's a lot of drama behind that too.
Yeah,
a lot of drama.